All right. Hey, everybody. Cleta the Cheetah here. And I missed y'all last week, but I heard that y'all had the most fantastic Boss Babe call. And I just want to thank all the Boss Babe directors for doing the call last week. And I saw all the comments and all the notes from it. So it's so nice. We have so many talented directors, and every single one of them could be doing this every single night. So thank y'all for covering for me. I certainly do appreciate it. And so I was in Farmington, Pennsylvania at the $1 million reunion. And it's for all national sales directors and directors who have done $1 million in sales in a year in their unit. And then the nationals could invite like two people, and the directors that were $1 million directors could invite one person. So anyway, I was very fortunate to get invited. I was able to go 2 years ago with my friend Lisa Ann Harmon, and this year I was invited by Kathy Oliveira. And it's so funny. It just shows you need to, like, when you commit to go to stuff, you need to go, because I committed to go to Lorinda King's fall advance. Even though I already had a fall advance, she asked me to speak and be a teacher. And I'm like, oh yeah. So I went to two fall advances. And at that fall advance, I ran into Kathy Oliveira, who I knew who she was, but we weren't like friends or anything. And through the conversation we had there, she invited me to go to this. And so I'm like, are you kidding? Because I already had just written it off that I wasn't going to get to go. Which a friend of mine, when I got there, they're like, she said, Donna Clark Driscoll, she's a New Yorker. She goes, well, I got a concept for you. Why don't you win it yourself, and then you don't have to worry about it? And I'm like, that's a good point, Donna. That is a good point. And so anyway, I was so thankful to get to go. So I flew up there on Sunday morning early and met up with Holly Sherrick and Teddy Fisher, two top director girlfriends of mine. And we rented a big old Expedition Max, and it's like a big old expedition. And so I drove them to, it was about an hour and a half drive to where we were going. And y'all, it's just so beautiful. This place is called Nemacolin, and they did The Bachelor there the last season. And so if you ever watch The Bachelor, I don't know if you ever watch it, but that's where we were. And they told me that, or someone told me while I was there, that they had canceled 41 weddings. I thought those 41 brides to be able to do The Bachelor there. Like, because, they rented out the whole place for however long that they do it. I guess that was like 6 weeks, however long those Bachelor shows last, because, they're at that same place the whole time. So anyway, I haven't seen The Bachelor on that. I mean, I've seen The Bachelor before, but it's been a while. So I may have to go find it. But anyway, so it was just really, really beautiful. It's, how many acres did they tell us it was? I want to say like 200 acres or something. I mean, there's a zoo, there's a golf course, there's tennis courts, there's several lodges. It's absolutely breathtaking. And there was a place in the very front that was lit up, and it looked like a giant lipstick. It looked like our Sunstone lipstick. I'm not kidding you. Now, maybe it was supposed to be something else, but all the Mary Kay girls, I'm like, that is a lipstick. I don't care what you say. That's what it is. And of course, Christmas trees galore, and just absolutely just beautiful. So the first night, we had there's a world-renowned spa there as well. But the first night, or the second night, we all met up, and everybody, we had just like a buffet, and it was just real casual, and it was like 21 degrees outside. And they had this swimming pool that was heated, but, and so some of the girls went out there, and my little crew, they were like, nope. And so we just stayed inside. But it was just so good to see everybody. And some people had not been to a Mary Kay function in 2 years. Like, they had not been to anything big in 2 years. And, really for me, it's only been 3 big things, and they weren't that big. One of them I did right here, and it was when Linda Tupin came, and she came and spoke for us. It was about 150 people. And then those two fall advances, which one was 150, one was probably about, 90 or so. So it was really cool. And a lot of the women I had not seen in 2 years, since Leadership Conference, January 2020. Yeah. So like this coming leadership, that was the last time we saw everybody. And so, except for just a few of us that have been able to get together. So thankful for that. And of course, some people I see them on Zoom, so you didn't feel like you hadn't seen them in 2 years, right? But then a lot, you really did feel like that. So it was just really fun. just taking tons of pictures. And, we just blew up Facebook because we could, because we haven't done it in so long. And so just really, really good to see everybody. Everybody was in such a grateful, happy mood just to be there and to be together. So if I had one thing to say about the whole thing, would probably be just the community of Mary Kay. And if you think about it, in the company, I mean, the best of the best, the people that did they're $1 million sales directors or $1 million nationals. I mean, like the best of the best. They were there. Every single teacher were the $1 million national sales directors. And then there was a panel of some $1 million directors as well. So just phenomenal. Okay. And so they had on Tuesday morning is when they started the training. And then we had some breakout classes, and then it was on Wednesday too. So I just took tons of notes, and I'm just going to go over and just give y'all a highlight of it. If you're a sales director, you had an opportunity, if you're on my little Boss Babe group, to order the playbacks. And I know some of you probably already have them, and it's like you can just sit there and listen to each of the speakers. And I ordered them because I didn't hear every single one of them, because there were some different classes that, so this is the way you could hear the whole thing. So anyway, I'm going to give y'all a smidgen of it. It was a director conference, but I think much of this is good for leaders. Okay. And I believe that each of you that are on here, whether you're a sales director or whether you're a consultant or even a new consultant, you would love to be a leader in Mary Kay. Who wouldn't want to be a leader, right? All of you lead somebody, right? Whether it's your customers or, somebody's looking up to you. So I think this advice that they gave is just unbelievably awesome for anybody. So one of the things I wanted to start out with was Jan Thetford, National Sales Director Jan Thetford and Kim McClure are the ones that put it on. And they started out reading this brand manifesto of Mary Kay. And I want you just to listen to this. And I want you to think how proud that you are or should be of our company. So here's the brand manifesto. We are a brand with a purpose, built by a woman for women. Opportunity is what we create. Beauty is what we sell. And hope is what we give back. We believe in the empowerment of women. Everything we do is with a desire to help them feel beautiful inside and out, and create personal relationships like no other brand can. And that is the difference in Mary Kay and buying Lancome, Estee Lauder. I mean, like all the, they don't have big Estee Lauder and getting together with all the people that work at the malls. It's like we are a sisterhood, and there's no other cosmetic company like ours that does this. I mean, I love that. Another thing that she said that was mentioned is this was a quote from Holly Girth. It was a book said Coffee for Your Heart, but it says, we are carriers of hope. We're bringers of blessings. We're ambassadors of love wherever we are today. And that's what we want to be in Mary Kay. Whether you lead a team of one, maybe you have your first team member, or you have a unit of 200, 300 people, or an area of 2,000 people. You want to be that carrier of hope, a bringer of blessings, and an ambassador of love. And then the last quote that Jan put in our little Facebook group, she said, sometimes you have to give up on people, not because you don't care, but because they don't. Isn't that interesting? And I thought that was really good as well. One of the first things that I noticed, and y'all know we love Dawn Alton Sweeney. She's one of my Mary Kay mentors. She's a Mary Kay National Sales Director. And they had these on every table. And it was a little track that says, Mary Kay taught us God first, family second, and career third. And it's just a little track, you guys. And then it says, but how? And then, but this is what you're not going to see at other business meetings, you guys. So, and it shows right here, you can see it says Mary Kay started her company so women could live their priorities of God first, family second, and career third. She said, in that order, everything works. Out of that order, nothing works. And then it has some verses in the Bible about that. And so it's just like a little track about how to start to get to know Jesus. So these were at everybody's table. And then they sent us a little PDF and said, this was one of Mary Kay's missions to make sure. I mean, she wouldn't say God first and not talk about God, right? So I just love these. And I think it's just really neat because you don't know who's going to come to your skincare class, who's going to come to your unit meeting, that may want to know a little bit more about Jesus, right? And what a great thing just to put it out on the table. So I thought that was pretty awesome. So the theme of it was called Rise Up. And Pam Shaw was one of the first ones that came up and talked. And of course, she's amazing. We all love Pam Shaw. And if you're newer and some of these names, they may not mean anything to you because, when you're brand new, you're like, I don't know all these names they threw out. And I remember coming in the company and people would just say names. And I'm like, I have no idea who they're talking about. But later you will. But these are legends in Mary Kay. They're some of the top people, the Inner Circle Nationals. And so, you ought to get to know them. Go look them up. They're safe to follow, like on Instagram or on Facebook. Okay. And so she said, you will not advance in a company that you're constantly questioning, that the staff comes and go, but the Mary Kay Nationals are here to stay. And she basically looked out the room. She says, we are Mary Kay. We don't have a diversity problem in Mary Kay. We never have. I mean, we are all Mary Kay sisters, no matter what color we are, and it's never been an issue, and we're not going to make it an issue. And I just love that, don't y'all? And that's just, I just love that she just started out with that, and she said that you want to build a bridge for someone behind you as you're going through your Mary Kay career. And of course, she was talking to us like, what contribution will you be? Like when you're gone, like as a sales director or as a team leader, and you're not in anymore, and people, what are they going to say about you? What did you contribute to your team and to our company? And she said, you want to schedule events that are designed for just one purpose, and that's growth and desire. And she said, what we're experiencing right now is manna with the technology that we have right now. And a lot of people talked about that as how with technology, what we used to did not have, and we would never do a Facebook party, right? Because it's only like we only did face-to-face. Like it was almost like a sin to not do it face-to-face. And now we have learned that we can do it both ways, and you can call it what you want to call it, hybrid selling or, whatever, but you can do virtual and you can do face-to-face. Isn't that wonderful? And so because of technology, we can reach somebody in California and send them some samples and do a facial on them and recruit them just like that without getting in your car and driving over, flying over there, driving 4 hours for a party. You can go send samples. And so that's pretty awesome. But you can still do facials, of course, at your meetings, at your hometown, in your house and stuff like that as well. And so we want to say, do both, right? Do both. She talked about a couple things that kill leadership, and she said one of them was the fear. Fear will kill leadership. Inactivity is yeast for more fear. And so when you stop, when you stop working because you're afraid to do something, you're going to get worse instead of better. And she said the second thing is comparison. And when you compare yourself, she said, because when comparison causes you to do Mary Kay from lack and not gratitude. And so she really talked about having gratitude for everything that you have. Focus on the future. She said that you elevate your influence with vision and hope and focus on the future. And you said you can't hope for a better past. Isn't that the truth? I can't hope that said, oh, I hope last week was better. I hope last week will get better. Last week is last week. Last week is done. There's nothing you can do about last week. You can evaluate it, but that's about it, right? But we can hope for the future. And so I love that. And she said, one of the devil's most effective questions is, and I really like this. She said, when you say, like, let's say you feel like you hear a word from the Lord telling you a goal or someone to talk to or a plan, and you really feel in your heart you need to go for this. And so the devil's biggest tool is when you say, did God really say, did I really hear God right to say that he wants me to be a national sales director? Did God really say that I could be a red jacket? And you start questioning what you heard, right? And basically it's called talking yourself out of it. You ever had that? Like, you talk yourself in and then you talk yourself out. And that's one of the devil's very biggest tools. So she said, to ask the Lord in quiet time, when you're quiet and, maybe done your Bible study and you pray and just sit there and ask the Lord, what do I love about Mary Kay? What is my dream and what is my assignment in this company? What would you have me do in this company? And then listen, and then don't talk yourself out with whatever you hear. So she just said you want to start with the end in mind of whatever you're doing. So let's say you're going for, let's say as a consultant, red jacket. So you start with that. And then you go, okay, that's what I'm going for. So this is what I've got to do to get there. And then that way you always have that. So if you're a sales director, maybe it's to win the next car, So start where it is. That's the end in mind. And then you work towards that because it's the hope for the future. She ended her speech with, of course, y'all know I'm just giving you snippets, right? She ended her speech with, she said, you are unique. Act like it. You are brilliant. Live like it. And you are you are brilliant. Lead like it. You are called. Live like it. And it was really, Pam was so inspirational to me anyway. Okay, so the next speech was Ari Hathaway. She is a national sales director, of course. And she made a point out. She said, Mary Kay, we've always been people that we dream big. We look to the future. And but during COVID, everybody became a bunch of realists, of what we can't do, and getting just really not dreaming anymore. And she said, we've got to start dreaming pink again. We've got to start dreaming pink again. And that thinking is habitual. 95% of your thoughts are the same exact ones you had yesterday. 95%. And so nothing really is going to change. And so she said, take inventory of their limiting beliefs, of things that you said yesterday about your business and about yourself, and think about what you're saying, because it's going to be the same thing tomorrow if you don't start changing some of that. She wanted us to think back to when we said yes to our big pink dream and what that felt like. It could be when you started your Mary Kay business. It could be the moment you decided, maybe you've been in a little bit and I'm looking at these directors, and maybe that moment you thought, I'm going to win a car and become a director. I'm going to do it, and you're excited and you're like, you gulp and you think, can I? But then you're like, no, I'm doing it. I am going to win a car and I'm becoming a sales director, or earn the use of a car. Okay. So let's be politically correct in Mary Kay. Earn the use of a car. And you decide that's what you're going to do. And you got real excited. And she said, think about that dream again. Get that feeling again back in you. And I think that's what, for me, these last three events, the fall retreat that we had with Lynn Purser over in Jekyll Island, and then over in Hilton Head, and then in Pennsylvania, it just gave me the dream back. And sometimes that's what we need. I'm so thankful for the Boss Babe call, because honestly, being together every single Sunday night, it helps you not to fall asleep on your Mary Kay business and go, okay. And even though you might have had a stinky week, you're like, all right, yes, I'm going to pick it back up. I'm going to do it this week. Right. And so I thank you for some of you have been so loyal, the whole entire time, you never miss. And I just hope that it has helped you. It really does help me for sure. One of the things that Ari said is that people who dream are younger and they look younger. People who have dreams look younger. Have you ever had people that retire? Maybe they worked at a job all their life, right? And they look like they had it going on. And then they retire, and 4 years later or 2 years later, they look like great grandma in the rocking chair, knitting, and you're like, what happened to Susie Q, who worked at the bank? I mean, she had it going on, because they have no dreams. They have no goals. They're just sitting there. They have no purpose at all in their life. Maybe not everybody, of course, but have you seen people like that? And you're like, man, she has really aged. She needs some Mary Kay. She needs some repair set, right? But people with dreams, they have more enthusiasm. That's why you can see people in Mary Kay that literally are in their 70s, 80s, and they're still spry. And they're like, yep, I got to go. They got something to do and somewhere to go and people to do it with, and they look younger. So y'all want to look younger. Y'all get to get your dreams out, right? She said the average woman does not dream. So enroll people in your dream. Give people a reason to move out of their comfort zone and invest. And that the dream is the tool that actually causes you to grow. And that don't feel selfish when you have a dream. Don't feel selfish. Well, I just shouldn't try to, no, because when you reach dreams and you reach goals, other people are going to be inspired. I'm going to give you an example of that. My friend, Karen Rottle, she is an elite executive senior sales director. She just got her 8th first line sales director, and she has 6 second line sales directors, and she has, I think, 3 third line sales directors and 1 fourth line sales director, and 2 DIQs. So she literally only needs 4 more people to step up and become sales directors, and she will be a national sales director. I've known Karen for years and years. And she had an event the other night, and I got on it and watched where she filled out her paper. Because when you have 8 and 6, 8 first line and 6 second line, then you can fill out, and it's kind of like a commitment, like directors do, national qualification, that you have a desire to be a national sales director. And so she had to sign it, fill it out. She had all these people on there, like 100, there's about 120 people on there. And because she is going for that dream, it inspired me. And I mean, I was so emotional for her, but then also thinking, if she can do it, I can do it, right? And so has she been selfish about not going for her dream and thinking, well, this is just, then there's so many people. And they said there were over 1,000 people in her organization when you count all those sales directors and all their units, right? Probably more than that. That's a lot of people she is, and they all were so excited for her, and for them in their area, not just for her personally. So she said, what makes you unhinged, unlocked, and unleashed? And that the enemy wants to make you feel selfish, but you go in the direction that God has given you all the days of your life. That's the direction you're going to go. And she said, going in the direction, going the way our motivation, along the way, our motivation changes because of the dream. It starts out one thing, but then it can change all along till you get to the dream. And then she had us close our eyes. And I was sharing with Smile. I never like those little practice things where you close your eyes and do this. But she said, she closed your eyes, and then she said, I want you to picture something that your goal or what you want, and then just say, I hope, and then whatever it is, close your eyes. And how's that feel? Then she had us open her eyes. She says, now I want you to close your eyes and say, I expect whatever it is that you're going for. And she said, you'll have more confidence when you, instead of saying, I hope I'm going to be a blank, then I expect to be a red jacket. I expect to be a director. I expect to be a pink Cadillac director. And you're going to have weight. Your confidence is going to grow with that. Instead of saying, well, I hope I'm a little scared little rat in the corner. I hope to get some cheese. No, right? We're going to be bold. We're going to say what we want. I expect to get some cheese. I expect somebody's going to give me some cheese. And so it's like we were in one of the hotels, and the guy came out, and of course it's all 5-star, right? It used to be, it was like 4 seasons quality. And this guy, there was 4 of us sitting there, or 3 of us, and they said, well, can I bring y'all a cup of coffee? And of course I don't drink coffee. And I said, I don't drink coffee, but if you brought me a cup of hot chocolate with marshmallows on the top, I would not say no. And so guess what? In a few minutes, I had a cup of hot chocolate with marshmallows on the top. I sure did, and whipped cream. And it was so good. And I thought, that's calling, saying what you want, and someone's going to bring it to me, right? And so anyway, our dream could be probably just about as easy as that if we just say what we want. And so let me just go to the next one. Okay, so Tammy Craig talked a little bit. She's a national sales director, and she said, why are you here? Be intentional. There's 3 things that you are leaving here with that can cause a growth or a shift, and stop pretending not to know what to do, that you know what to do. And she said, right now you need to go and call or text and thank the person who invited you to join Mary Kay, and thank them. Because you would, like, for all of us, we would not be here if we did not have that person, in our lives that actually invited us to Mary Kay. And then she said, think about what they gave you, when they offered you the business opportunity and you signed up and you became. And then she looked at us all and she said, you all have that gift, and aren't you willing to give that gift to someone else so that they could be thanking you for that gift, right? Don't keep it to yourself. Okay. I'm gonna go. Okay, Candy Lewis is another one I want to talk about. She's a national sales director. She's amazing. I love her to death. She said the word ready. She talked about the word ready, and she just did a little acronym for it. And she said the R stands for rise up and reach up. Rise up and reach up. The E stands for equipped. Do it scared. Just go ahead and do it scared. The A stands for available. Be available. And she talked about how we called them Esther calls, where you check on people, care calls. You checked on people, how are you doing? Like, especially remember in COVID, like people just, it was nice to get a phone call, somebody checking on you, see how you were doing, right? But be available to your people. D is be determined, and let your yes be yes. And Y is your prophecy will make room for you. And so I love that. They have this thing, they call it Red Coffee Ready. And so they have a little program they do, and that's what the Ready stands for. And she said, you have to do it now. And now means no opportunity was wasted. And it also means new opportunities are waiting for you. So, by not waiting, you're not wasting opportunities that are right in front of your face, right? Let's see what else she said. One of the things we all need to do is lead the woman in the mirror and be willing to change, and don't remain bound to that same person. Be willing to change. And you have two kind of goals. There's grand goals. They're goals that are within your reach, or ground goals, goals that are within your reach. It'd be something like if you said, I'm going to make one phone call tomorrow. I mean, I'm pretty sure all y'all can do that, right? Make one call, make one attempt for something tomorrow. But she said there's God goals, and God goals are where God's going to help you, right? Like you cannot do it without God. Those are the big goals. And she said worship will outweigh your doubt. Worship will outweigh your doubt. And so I like that too. So let's see. She really talked about telling your story, whatever your story is with your Mary Kate. What are some things that you have been through? People don't want to tell all their business. I realize that, but your story is an inspiration to other people. Do y'all ever feel like when someone tells that, like their real story, like what's happened to them in their life, and they come out, you're like, wow. I mean, it's so inspirational, right? Instead of just being a Facebook, Instagram world where everything is perfect and nothing ever happens. Now, am I talking about put all your drama out on Facebook? No, please stop. Right? Please stop. But it's good to tell your story. If you've overcome some things it's okay in your story to talk about something that you've overcome and how Mary Kate has helped you with that, and that's inspirational to people. So you want to create a movement, not just a crowd. And I really like that thought. Create a movement, not just a crowd, and that your vibe will attract your tribe. And so she ended it with there's 6 types of leaders. And this is from Craig Groeschel, which Craig Groeschel is a great motivational speaker. I really like him. And it's funny, I really had not heard of anything he had done. I mean, I was just out of the loop till just a couple of years ago. And I'm like, man, he is so inspirational. So y'all can look him up sometime. But he said there's unpredictable leaders. Unpredictable leaders have hesitant followers. You never know what the leader is going to do. And I'm telling I know some of you, the consultants, these are things that you want to think about as you're building your team. Okay. And even with one or two people, you're a leader. Okay. Number 2 is a domineering leader. And this is they have compliant followers. I mean, they follow because they have to, if they don't want to, but they have to, right? And they're not committed. Number 3 are secretive leaders. They're secretive and they're afraid to tell their story. And so there's no trust among their followers. And then number 4 is passive leaders. Passive leaders are disengaged with their followers. And they don't address problems. They don't try to, if there's a problem, they just, look the other way and they don't even try to work on it. And then there's 2 types of more positive leaders. Number 5 is predictable leaders, and they produce healthy followers. Okay. But the best is number 6 is empowering leaders. Empowering leaders produce great leaders. And it says when a leader gets better, everybody gets better. So like if you're a consultant and you're a consultant if your director says, I'm reading this book and I just learned, like she's going to share with you things so when you get better, everybody's going to get better, right? So as a leader, you can't quit learning, and you can't quit thinking, I already know everything there is to know. There's nothing you can tell me that I do not know. That is a really slippery slope to somebody to say that. Because what that means, if you really know everything you need to know, then that just means you're lazy and you're not doing it. Or you would be like a executive elite national sales director, right? I mean, obviously there's a little more to learn, right? And some more things that we could do. So I'm going to go on over here to just a couple of points. I want to check my time here. Kathy Bill, she's a national sales director. And there was one thing that was I thought a great idea for us and for consultants and directors. And she talked about how she got her bookings, and she called them, something they're doing is called everyday heroes. And so she asked women when she meets them, she goes, we honor, in Mary Kay, we honor everyday heroes. She goes, who do you know that you admire, that you believe, like if she could get an award, she should get one because of how she is and what she's meant to you in your life. And women that come to your heart that you think are just everyday heroes. They're not the ones on TV, but they do so much for so many people, and they've done so much for you. And so she said that she books her facials, and then she'll say, listen, I want you to make a list of some everyday heroes and some women that we can reach out to. And then at the party, she says, I'm here today to honor one of our everyday heroes. Rhonda told me all about Linda Roof and how she serves others, and she this and she this and she this. And Linda Roof, she is who we're honoring today for this party. And Linda, we're just so thankful for you and how you've rose up to help Rhonda and her family and in her time of need. Linda, go help Rhonda. Anyway, I'm looking at both of them up here, but you know what I'm saying? And so that's how, and so she books, and then everybody there is emotional, and they all tell what they love about the everyday hero, Linda Roof, at the party. Right. And she said they would just book them over and over during that. And then she incorporates her iStory at her party, of course, shares the marketing plan. And then this was cute, I thought. She said, now you can join Match.com for $30. And you might meet a serial killer or the love of your life. You don't know. There's nothing to lose, though you just spent $30. Well, we got the same $30 we can try in Mary Kay. Nobody's going to get killed, though, right? I mean, you can just try Mary Kay and do the e-start for $30, and you could win a pink Cadillac, or you might win nothing, but you don't have anything to lose for trying. I just thought that was hilarious, So anyway, that's something you can throw in your marketing, right? So let's go to another national sales director is Pam Tull. Pam Tull she's one of my favorites. I've just loved her. If you ever get a chance to listen to her, she is just so great. She started out saying, yes, she was the past watermelon queen, of her city. And so, but she's talked about it. And she said that in Wall Street Journal, it used to say that Mary Kay people were the best trained people in the whole marketing field. Mary Kay people were the best trained in the whole field of marketing field. And why? Is because Mary Kay people were in the field. Like Mary Kay, we were out hustling. And so it was easy to be trained. Like we trained and then we would do it. So we would learn it, like doing parties, doing facials, and that we were the best ones. And she said, so, we got to get back to getting in the field. And so she talked about that product and relationships are what's important in Mary Kay, and they're married. You have to have both. I mean, the products are what drives our company. If we have nothing to sell, we can have sisterhood all day long, but that'd be a little social club, right? So we have to have, and this is a business too. So we're here to, make an income as well. And so she said that nothing hurts when you're selling. That Mary Kay used to say that anytime you had any kind of a problem and you go to Mary Kay Ash, she would say, well, just book a party and sell something. That cures everything. She said, you're depressed, book a party and sell something. You're down on your luck, book a party and sell something. You feel like you gain weight, book a party and sell something. And that it cures everything. And so it is the truth, because when you book a party and then you go to the party and you sell something, you're not focusing on yourself that whole time you're doing that party, right? You're focusing on them. They buy, you're like, that was fun. It's exciting, right? It's so exciting. And so it does cure everything, just to book a party and sell something. And so she also talked about something that she's doing, which I thought was very interesting. She said that for the last 6 months, she has a basket, and every time that she would run out of a product that she personally uses, like maybe it's a cleanser bottle or whatever, all the products we use in Mary Kay. She just, instead of throwing it in the trash can, her empty bottle, she put them in a basket. And so she would show all the, like after it had been 6 months, 8 months or whatever, these are all the things I use in Mary Kay. Like show all the products that she used, and how we're so thankful to be in a company, right? That we can use all this. And also, as a consultant, right? We pay wholesale for it. Is that not the biggest blessing? And then she said, she also, she has them put everything they have ordered. Well, actually, she just did it herself. So let's say I am talking to Rhonda Newbold, and I said, and I'm trying to recruit her. And so she's been buying from me for a while. So I get off my shelf and get a box, and everything she's purchased from me in the last 90 to 120 days, I put in a box, and I show her how much she has purchased, right? And how she could get this at wholesale. And if she just found 10 friends that have 10 daughters, that's 20 customers, that she could have a business, and think about all those 10 friends that are buying this much every 60 to 90 days, or 90 to 120 days. It was just a really good visual that she talked about. And then she talked about calling husbands like for Christmas. And she said she would sell, they call it a double dip gift, And this is what she would say. She would say, like, let's say we're talking to my husband, Brad. So they say, Brad, listen, your wife is a customer of mine, and she buys I know you've probably seen all the products in the bathroom, right? She buys the Mary Kay skincare, and she buys lipsticks, and she buys some of the body care. And so, listen, would you be interested for Christmas in just doing a double dip gift? And this is what I mean by that. She's going to spend that money anyway with me and get it, because she loves Mary Kay. So now if you get it for her, you're getting that for her, which she's going to spend that money anyway later with me, but you could go ahead and give it to her. And then you just save money. It's a double dip gift. And I'm like, so she does a gift certificate for like $100, $200, or $300. And she says, you go ahead and give her a gift certificate, and then she can spend that with me, and she's going to be spending it anyway. But now it counts as your gift. How awesome is that? Y'all get it? So I thought that was a cute idea for right now that we could go home and do. Okay. Let's see. Cindy Leon. She is, of course, National Sales Director. And she was talking about the Mary Kay legacy. And she said, leaders must continue to pass it on. The lessons and the legends is one of the videos that you can watch. And she said the 3 beliefs of Mary Kay that we need to make sure we remember to talk about it and pass it on is the golden rule, the priorities of the company, God, family, and career, and that we praise people to success, those things, and that we want to remember these things. It's what makes us different than other companies. And we want to make sure that legacy never change. We may have different ways that we sell the product, but that legacy never changes. And she talked about the foundation, that if you have a firm foundation, you're stable. And if you have a really good foundation, there's nothing, even in a tornado, hurricane, if the foundation was good, it rips off every single bit, but usually that foundation is still down there, right? Unless someone intentionally tears the foundation down. So she said, in Mary Kay, we need to protect our firm foundation that Mary Kay built. And we don't want to tear it down. And, not that we ever would, but you know what I'm saying? Like that is our foundational principles, the one that I just said. So I thought that was really good. Cindy Grass, she's a little fireball in Mary Kay, and she just gets in there and tells it like it is. I'm telling you. And so she talked about a lot of different things. And so I'm just going to hit a couple of things that she talked about. One of the things that she does is she says she trusts her. She actually would even call the husbands of her directors and consultants and says, what's going on with Susie Q? I haven't seen her or anything. It's just not, she goes, I got all their numbers. And so I call those husbands and they'll say, hang on. She goes, in 5 minutes, that wife will call me, because the wife's been avoiding to call the director or whatever. So she talks to them, but she gets in their whole family, right? Let's see. she really talked about building other people, not manipulating people or maneuvering them, but build them up. And so I thought that was really good as well. And of course, she said a lot of other things too. Let's just skip all that. Dawn Dunn was a national that talked about, ask what your sweet spot is in Mary Kay. And she said, you build Mary Kay by four S's. And she said, one is self-talk. What are you talking to yourself? And the second S is skills. The third S is schedule. And the fourth S is system. And you want to keep all those four things in balance, like four tires. Because if one is out of balance of those four things, you can't go. Y'all know, if you ever tried to drive with one flat tire, you're going to ruin the rims too, right? So you have to just stop. So self-talk, skills, your schedule, and your systems. And, you keep it going with that. She said, you want to exercise daily. And that exercise is called walking with God. Isn't that good? Okay. They had a $1 million director panel, and they were up there, and they talked about different ways they did Mary Kay. The panel were women that did $1 million in their unit before the pandemic and then during COVID, right? So they've done it both ways. All right. And so Keita Powell, Jim Bessaker, Callie DeBlander, and let me see who else was up there. I apologize for the person that might be listening, so you didn't mention me. Maybe I have her down here in a second. But Callie, one of the things Callie's really known for is say, can I do this? And question yourself. Instead, say, how can I? And it just makes you start thinking in a different way. How can I still make money? And like if I can't leave the house or whatever, how can I, do the virtual? Not can I do it? Can I figure it out? But how can I? And she talked about every morning getting up and saying, who can I bless today? Who can I bless today with my Mary Kay business? And kind of wait. And if a name comes to your mind, you've got to call her that day, She said, Jim Bessaker was on there. And of course, Jen totally did $1 million. She started with 2 hostesses, and some of you have probably heard her video or watched her video. She started with 2 hostesses, and she decided that she personally was going to do 100 Facebook parties. And so she started with 2 people, and she booked from there, and she ended up doing $1 million in sales. And I think she's done it now maybe 2 years in a row. And she said, instead of saying, why is this happening to me? Have anybody ever said that? Why are these things happening to me? Why? She said, instead say, why is this happening for me? What am I supposed to learn from this? Why is this happening for me? And it's just a different way of thinking it. And she said, whatever is on your mind or your goal, and she said, you just put it in the blank. In other words, like, what's earning a pink Cadillac to God? Nothing. I mean, like, he parted the Red Sea. He can help you earn a pink Cadillac or become a red jacket, right? Or become a national sales director. That's nothing to God. And so I love that. They had a little panel of the national sales director emeritus, Linda Tupa, Kathy Goff, Suzanne Brothers, Cheryl Steinman, were all the ones that were up there. And they were probably like, it was just, all of it was good. But I just love these ladies that they came, they saw, they conquered, and they're still willing to come to something like this and give back to us. And they just had lots of Mary Kay stories. And one of the things Suzanne Brothers said, she said, our business will not take care of our culture, but our culture will always take care of our business. Our culture, our Mary Kay culture. And she said to pass it on. And she talked about a couple of things that Mary Kay said to her when she first met her at the very first time. I think she became a sales director, and talked with her. And she said, well, just pass it on, and that was, to recruit. She told so many of us that. And then she said, the second thing she said, she goes, I don't remember what I did on stage. I think I was unit club or something. She goes, and Mary Kay, when she was living, she would be on the stage, and like you would come down and she would be the person that you would see, or she'd be at the end of the stage when you came off the stage she would be there to hug you or say something. It was like one of the highlights of earning a big accomplishment. And she said, so I'm on cloud nine. I came off the stage and there's Mary Kay. And Mary Kay goes like this to me and says, spit it out. And she said, I had gum. I was chewing gum the whole time I was on stage. And she goes, Mary Kay had really high standards. She's like, spit it out. She said, and so why? She goes, why couldn't I think to take it out of my mouth and like put it somewhere? Instead, I went and I spit it right in her hand. And she goes, later, I'm mortified that I did that to Mary Kay. You know, then she talked later. She goes, what do you need to just spit out and get rid of in your Mary Kay business? And then there was something else, and Mary Kay told her to stand up. And I don't remember what it was about, the story about her having to stand up. And then the other one was to get help. And so anyway, it was really good. Kathy Golf was one of them. And Latrice, I mentioned you to Kathy, and, you know, because I know how much you love her. And so she talked about how Mary Kay had very, very high standards. And she said that, you know, that she goes, it's time to move to a new level and get some new friends. And she said, if you're hanging around and your little group have all been in the same spot for, you know, all these years and nobody's moving up, it might be time to get some new friends. And so, you know, she's like, so look to the right, look to the left. Of course, you know, you're in a room with people that have done great things, but, you know, the whole concept is what? When you have a little sea of little friends, then everybody's comfortable and nobody feels bad about not going forward, you know, but one person has got to swim out of the little thing and go on up, because there's other friends up there too. Not that you're not going to be friends with people, but y'all get the idea. You have to get the idea of that. And so you want to reach up and don't be satisfied just because all your little friend base is all doing the same thing. You know, you be that one that says, I love y'all, but this is where I'm going. And so I thought that was really good. Cheryl Steinman, of course, she's one of my favorite people. She's a Michigan director, and I've known her for 30 years, and I just love her to death. And she said that you could not outgive Mary Kay. Mary Kay was so big on generosity, and she was she was wanting to make sure everybody felt included. And she said she told one little story. She said they were on a top director trip, and she said, you know, your first top director trip, the first day, you know, you just like about beat your husband to act right. Don't say anything stupid, you know, be polite, you know, and everybody's on their best behavior on day one and day two, possibly. And then day three, you're kind of like, you know, letting your guard down a little bit. And by day four, you're acting like yourself again. She said, so it was day four and we were in the restroom, and she said, and it was a restroom where the stalls were from the ceiling to the floor. You know, she goes, so she said, you know how women can be catty. She said, so I was out there with 2 or 3 other of the top directors, and we were just chit-chatting about something. She goes, let's just say Mary Kay probably wasn't real, you know, what we wouldn't have said it had we known Mary Kay was in the stall listening to everything we said about whatever we were saying. They didn't say exactly what it was about someone or something that was negative. Okay. Gossiping. All right. She says, so Mary Kay walks out and she goes, we all go, you know, and she says, now Mary Kay could have right then just stopped them all cold and said, what are y'all doing? You know, she said, but instead she said, hey, Cheryl. And Cheryl's like, she said, can you help me do my makeup? She goes, what kind of makeup do you have in your bag? I need you to do my eyes. Your eyes look so good. She said, so here I had to take out my dirty Mary Kay compact. She goes, it looked awful. And she said, and I'm putting some colors on her eye. And she goes, I'm nervous as heck. And then she says, what is that color? She goes, she says, well, it's called emerald or whatever it was. You know, she goes, don't tell me. We don't make it anymore. And then she said, Mary Kay said this. Mary Kay said, I hate it when they do that. And then Cheryl said, well, like, you are the CEO of the company. I think you can tell them, you know, but she said, we all understood what she was saying right there. She says she could have really just got us, but she really like instead just, you know, wanted to, you know, she made a point without making the point. And then another time she said, we all went on this top director trip and we wore these beautiful, it was $1 million mingle, and there was like 10 directors. She goes, and we were dressed to the nines. She goes, I mean, she goes, I didn't wear these clothes in Pigeon, Michigan. She goes, I only wore them on the top director trip. She goes, and we had spent some money, all of us. We looked like $1,000,000. She goes, and we walk in there with all our finery, and we are so proud. And we're sitting at that table. And she says, Mary Kay goes, have y'all been to J.C. Penney's lately? And they're like, no. She goes, they really have some good styles in there and very much affordable. And she said, and she went on to talk about that. And basically, Mary Kay was about them not spending all their money on frivolous things, instead spend it on their family, And she said that, well, I think it was her that said that she said every family has wolves, thieves, and embezzlers, and you better get your money in the bank. And the wolves, thieves, and embezzlers are your kids, your husband, and yourself that take your money if you don't go put it in your bank. And so she said she taught us about money. She's very frugal, and she wanted these women to learn how to manage their money. Because, some of us never learned how to manage money because we never had any money, so we would just blow it. She goes, one of the top directors bought, I believe it was 2 kind of designer rings or something. And Mary Kay saw them and said, well, you are taking one of those back, right? And she's like, and so that's just how Mary Kay was. So that's our founder, y'all. Isn't that amazing? She clipped coupons. She was very thrifty, and she wanted to teach the directors to be that way as well. Let's see what time it is. Okay, got just a few more minutes. Donald Sweeney did a fabulous. We actually had a worship service Tuesday night. We had some praise and worship music, which was led by some of the top directors. And then Donald Sweeney got up there and spoke. And it was so good. And those of you that are on the Director Bible Study, she played that song, Rise Up, Lazarus, Rise Up Like Lazarus. It was so good. And so she just really, and she talked about the little tracks and, about that this is his company and we are his people, and that we need to, keep our priorities right. It was really good. We even just had like people that wanted to come up for prayer. And so that's just kind of the company we have, you guys. And then the last day were the Inner Circle Nationals. Sonia Paez got up and spoke, and I'm kind of running out of time, but she talked about multiplying herself. Kristen Sharp came up, and Kristen is the national of her mother. Connie Kitson was a national too. Kristen's 35 years old, and hers was really fantastic, you guys. And I'm just going to say them really quick. And I know I'm just like talking like a mile in a minute, but she said, number 1 is tough times never last, tough people do. And I'm sure y'all have heard that. And she said, you're a victor, not a victim. And that every storm runs out of rain. So if you're going through a time that you feel like it's a storm in your life, because we all have gone through them, right? Just remember, every storm eventually runs out of rain. And so I thought that was really good. I circled that. She said, Mary Kay is simple. Life is hard, but Mary Kay is a simple business, and don't make it hard. And then number 2, she said, intentional action is the language of the successful. The field is fun. That she said she did 8 years of triple star, and there was 85% growth came from her personal recruits every year. And so that's just intentional action of what you're going to do. Of course, she's on this Boss Babe call. Remember, I played that little video, but she talks about doing the parties. And it was all about a party. She has her beauty coat on. So she's a great example of that. Number 3, if people are watching you and the company is watching you. And she mentioned how that she ran into Ryan Rogers, and Ryan Rogers, who's Mary Kay's grandson, who's one of the CEOs of the company, said to Kristen, wow, Luke is really growing up. I can't believe he's already, I think she said 7 years old, or however old he is. And she said, you know my son's name and how old he is? Like, he says, oh yeah, I look at all your posts on Instagram. She said, and Kristen said, I didn't know whether to be scared or excited, And he said, she said, well, what's your Instagram handle? She goes, I want to follow you. He goes, oh no, I have an alias one. He said, I look at all the Salesforce. I want to see how they are representing my family and our brand. She says, so don't think that Mary Kay, Richard Rogers, is not watching us. And she was talking about, she says, what are you posting? Would it make Mary Kay proud, the things that you're posting, and that what is your reputation in your area if you're a director, with your sister sales directors, with your sister consultants, what is your reputation in the community that you live in? Are you known as someone that's go give, doesn't steal other people's customers, doesn't look for other people's recruits, that has a good attitude, that dresses sharp? I mean, are you known for that? Or are you known for something else? You want to lead others with high integrity and high ethics. Then number 4, she said 85% of the business is mental and 15% is skill. And so be the master of self-coaching. You know, what am I most grateful for today? Because when there's no enemy within, then the enemy outside cannot get in. And so, in other words, when you're not just sabotaging yourself, right? She says, and when you have a negative thought that comes to your mind, just say out loud, cancel, cancel, cancel. Or say, get out of here. You're out of here, baby. That's what she said. You know, if you start finding yourself saying something negative, and instead, sometimes during the middle of the day, you may have to say to yourself, how can I reset this day? You know, maybe things did not start out going good, you know, and what am I most excited about today? And be very mindful of what you say. And, you know, what are you going to enjoy the most about today instead of thinking negatively? And then number 5, she said, leaders think differently. How? Instead of asking a leader, what do they know? Ask them how they think, because that's the difference. And she said, don't be a copy and paste leader. Use your own gifts. God gave you gifts that he didn't give me. And so use those gifts. And you ask yourself, is this my best yet? Am I giving my very best now? And so I like that too. Kristen Myers was one. I know, I'm almost done. Kristen Myers is the national sales director, and she is really, really great. So let me just glance on hers. One of the things she talked about is, she said, give the gift of confidence instead of convenience. And that sometimes is that one-on-one, or like when you really spend time with a woman, like if you do a facial in person, you know, and they leave and they feel so confident about themselves instead of just looking for convenience all the time. And she said, use technology as an enhancer for your momentum. So I like that as well. Heather Daniel Kent got up there. Heather Daniel Kent is someone that has had she's on track to become a national sales director, but she showed her journey and how different things happened through her journey. And then she'd have a setback and then she'd come back. And it was very enlightening. You know, it was very enlightening, and how she got advice from different people along her career. And, you know, one of them was to get 100 unit members in 90 days. If you're a director, you know, 100 unit members in 90 days. She said, so I did it. I did it in 96 days. Pam Shaw told her to do that. And she says, and she showed a little chart. She goes, so here I was. She goes, and then look at what happened after I did that. And there's like the number of directors just grew. And so, and then she talked to, I believe it's Tammy Craig, told her about doing power starts. And so, you know, power start is 30 faces in 30 days and 30 interviews. And so she did 8 years of power starts. Every month she would do that. She said, so if I ever have a spot where I need to take back control, I do a power start myself. And so that will fix anything. So I thought that was pretty great tips as well. They ended it. Kim and Jan talked, and they were fantastic at the end. Really talk about saving our culture, you know, and did that brand manifesto. And then Cindy Williams and Gloria Mayfield Banks ended it up. And of course, they both are retiring. So it was really emotional. You know, they got up there and shared their thoughts with us. And of course, Cindy is so energetic. And she said, you know, she's like, the joy of the Lord is my strength. You know, she said, you know, you want to guard your heart, Mary, you want to guard your heart. You want to gain wisdom. You want to teach younger women, and you want to pass it on. And DNA, your DNA is very important. And that stands for do not argue with your creator. He made you just right. He made you just right. He made you unique. There's no one exactly like you. And when you doubt yourself, you're really doubting the gifts that God gave you. I thought that was really good. And then just to end up was Gloria Mayfield Banks, and she got up there and I recorded it. So on my little Cheetah Nation, some of you guys probably got to see it, but I had my girlfriends both send me their notes, Tandy and Holly. And so she said, she got up there and she, you know, it was just so exciting, right? And she was talking about when she first met Mary Kay. She was a new consultant. She was with another company, but she'd flown to Dallas on a business trip. And she thought, I'm just going to go by Mary Kay headquarters and see what it's all about. So she went there. She goes, as luck would have it, I saw Mary Kay in the hall. She had come down. She goes, so I go running over there to her. She goes, and she's like, well, hey, tell me your name. She goes, and I couldn't even speak. I'm like, she goes, what is your name? She goes, I'm Gloria Mayfield Banks, or I'm Gloria Mayfield, I think at the time, and she talked with her a minute, and Mary Kay looked at her eyes and said, I know you're going to be great. And she said, your words are either a flower or they're a prick. They're going to prick you like on a rose, or they're that beautiful flower. And make sure, she goes, the words that you say, people remember. And she goes, that word has stuck with me till today. And she says, when she said it, I took it to heart, and that she goes, and this has affected, Mary Kay, that one woman with those 9 consultants that started with her, have affected those women and their children and their grandchildren and their grandchildren's children. And that's how all of us are being affected, which is pretty awesome. And so then she ended it with a couple of points. And let me see if I can see that one on the list here. Okay. She said, let me look at both of them, because when you don't write the list, somebody else does. Okay. First of all, number 1 is be proud that you are in sales, that your profession, she said this with her. Okay, number 1, this is things she's learned. Number 1, she's very proud of being in a profession of sales and who she has become. Number 2, that she understood the assignment of being an entrepreneur, and that's, the recognition, motivation, education, inspiration. And then all the girlfriends that she has gained all along the way. And she said, she looked at us, those of us, she had to stand up if we were not $1 million directors yet. And she looked at us and she said, you already are a $1 million director. Just go build your $1 million unit. So for the consultants on here that are in their red jacket, you already are a red jacket. Just go get your 3 people, right? For those of you that are trying to be a sales director, that's your goal. You are a director. You just go build your 30 people, right? Those of us that want to be a national, you are a national. Just go get your 20 directors. Let's get it done. Because in the mind, you already have the heart of it. You just got to go do the work then. Number 3 was belief in women. And number 4 was skill. And she said, what is your job description? And really, it's just to lead by example. She says, when I work hard, it brings me joy. It's what I like to do. And how will I teach women how to believe God? And then she talked about Mary Kay a lot, as of course, with faith and integrity and confidence. Number 6 was image. And she says the power of your passion shows in your image. And number 7 was embrace change. Hey, we've all had to do that, right? Number 8 was support. Number 9 was people skills. And number 10 was invest in me. Be the best that you can. Be the best that you can be. And she said to blow up your gifts. What gifts did God give you? That he designed you the way you were meant to be. And whatever those gifts were, then you need to blow them up. If you're funny, then use that gift. If you're organized, use that gift. If you're good-hearted and tender, use that gift. There's different people. And Sayla and I were talking before the meeting. And I said, there's some women that I listened to and I'm like, I didn't really get that much. And then the girl beside me goes, that was the best speech I've ever heard. There's somebody that's going to say that you're going to say something to that only you can touch them. I couldn't. And, the director can, but only you. You're the only one that would be able to touch them. And so don't be afraid that you're not just like your sales director or the person that recruited you in Mary Kay. You just be yourself. So I know that was a lot of talking for a solid hour. It was a lot of people, you guys. It was a lot of people. So that was just a snippet of what I got. As you can tell, just a lot of wise women. And our company is in very good hands. Our future is strong. And so there's room at the top. And when you're with them, honestly, you're like, I'm where I'm supposed to be. This is an amazing company. This is where I'm supposed to be. And one of the biggest treats and building a big unit is the fact that I got to meet and be friends with these women who are such big thinkers, because it stretches you. And so, you guys, that was a lot to say tonight. And I thank you for your, I really just thank you for all of your attention tonight, and all our guys, our YouTubers. Thank you guys for watching over there as well. And so, let me just glance over here, see if there's anything I'm missing. Okay. So I'll just take just a minute or two if anybody would like to say anything, and then we'll stop in about 5 minutes. Okay. So anybody wants to pop on here, just feel free.
Hey, Cleta, this is Sayla. What an awesome hour of sharing. I wrote page after page. I said, I couldn't write fast enough, and I don't even know if I can read what I wrote. But it was just very encouraging, inspiring. We, clearly none of us were there, but you brought the word back, and it was like we were there. It was just really an awesome hour. I've been sitting here the whole time. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Sayla. Thank you so much.
Hey, Cleta, it's Maureen. Thank you so much. Like Sayla, my hand is killing me from writing so much. I can't wait to go back through and read what I can read, but it was powerful. It was so powerful. And, like these boss babe calls at 9 o'clock at night, I'm ready to go to work, So anyways, thank you so much. And I got to tell you, you deserve to be with all those ladies, because you are $1 million director. And I can't wait to celebrate you when that happens.
Thank you, girl. I really appreciate that. You're the best. And thank you for covering for me on our Think Pink night as well. I appreciate that.
Hey, Cleta, it's Jana.
Hey, girlie.
Hey, I just wanted to say thank you for being committed to this company and committed to your passions and your goals. Because you have done that, you were able to go and you were able to bring back this passion for us. And so you walked through the gate so we can do it too. And so I just want to thank you for that. I appreciate that. And you know what? Each and every one of us as independent sales directors, and even if you're just maybe a senior or a red jacket, people are going to be following you through the next gate that you walk through. So where are you going this week? Where are you going this month? You got to go first. We have to go first. So thank you for going first, Cleta.
That is so true. Thank you, Jana. Thank you so much.
Hey, and I'll just second what they're all saying. I hate I was a little bit late because of a church commitment, but I can't wait to watch the replay of the first 20 minutes or so, because I was typing lots of notes on the rest of it. And it's just so inspirational when you can go and be in the presence of those that have gone before us. And like when you hear the NSDs and the Meriti speak, it's just so touching, because they have definitely walked the walk and talked the talk, and they've been in the presence of Mary Kay and so many others, and just the wisdom is unlimited. So thank you for bringing it back to us.
Thank you, girl. And it was so fun seeing Lorinda King there. Of course, we just seen her a couple of weeks ago, and Tanisha Bain and Keisha Daly and some of my friends that we met at the fall retreat there. And so I'm like, I know you guys, y'all like my friends, so that was a lot of fun too. Thank you, Loree.
Hey, it's Katie. Can you hear me?
Hey, Katie. Yes.
Okay. Sorry. I know you can't see me, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for sharing. I have like 8 pages of notes. I actually tried to pause you in the middle because I'm used to watching the replay. But I couldn't do that, but that's okay. I'll watch the replay. I just really, gosh, this was so good, Cleta. And just like what Maureen said, you are $1 million sales director. You are a national sales director. And whenever you mention the piece about what are you to your community, like what is your reputation in your community, the Instagram piece, or I think it was Instagram where you said Richard has an Instagram, and it's like, whoa, like reality check, you guys, right? But you protrude that go-give spirit, honesty, loving others, having a kind heart. And thank you for allowing us to learn from you and just bringing us into that space, Cleta. And I had so much fun listening to this call. So thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you, Katie girl. I really appreciate those words of affirmation. Thank you so much. You know how much we love you.
Cleta, thank you. everything everybody has said and more.
Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you so much. Okay, you guys. Well, we are going to go ahead and break. I'm going to just say goodbye to my beautiful YouTubers over here. And so, oh, and there's one of my gals, Betty Radica. Betty, it's so good to see you. She's not on Facebook, so I'm so glad to see her over there on YouTube, which is awesome. So, and one of the gals over here said I took a picture with her national. And so I don't know which one was your national. You'll have to tell me that, Syndica. That's awesome. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and stop the YouTube. And so